Hello there everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to make this fan wire weave, and this is what it can look like. So you have these little fan shaped peaks going all the way across and gives this really nice effect. The back and the front, they are slightly different to each other, but they look kind of the same from a distance, but if you go close you can tell. So this is what I'm going to show you how to do, so if you want to learn how to do it, then stay tuned. So for the weave, I'm going to be using 4 lengths of my 1mm regular round wire here, and these are going to be the base wires. And then we also need a length of a 0.4mm wire for the weaving wire. And I'm then going to start out by taking one of my base wires here and then my weaving wire, because we first of all just need to attach the weaving wire to this base wire. So I'm just going to put a short tail behind, and then I have my long tail that I'm going to be working with here. Then I'm going to wrap this around a couple of times. So basically coiling the weaving wire around the base wire just to get it attached, so we can start getting into the weave properly. So something like this. Doesn't really matter how many times you do it. It all depends how you want your weave to look. Push them close together there. So then we need to get into the pattern for the weave itself. So for this I'm going to bring in my next base wire. I'm going to place this above the first one and on top of the tail of the weaving wire there. Just like that. And then I need to bring my weaving wire, it's coming out of the back and towards the bottom here. I need to bring it across the top of both of the base wires now. So across the top there, and then down behind again, behind both of them. But then what we need to do is come up between the two base wires. So I'm just bringing my weaving wire up between the two base wires from the back, and then pushing that all the way down. And then I want to wrap around the top base wire by itself, once, so around the top of that and back towards the back of the base wires again. So just like this. So now we have the weaving wire on the back coming down towards the bottom here. So now we need to bring in the next base wire. So lay that again above the previous ones, just like this. So we're kind of stacking them on top of each other every time. And then this is coming, the weaving wire is coming all the way towards the bottom here. I'm going to bring this around towards the top and again across the top of all of the base wires now. Just like this, making sure every time that you wrap your weaving wire around your base wires that your wraps themselves always lie next to each other and not start crossing on top of each other. And then bring it across the back of all the base wires and down towards the bottom again. And as you go, you can also help push every wrap there, all your wraps nice and tight. And then again, I want to come up between some base wires. Here, I need to come up between the top two base wires, just like this. Push that all the way down, and then wrap around that top one, the newest one that we added in, on its own, just like we did before with the previous one. Again, down towards the back of all the base wires and towards the bottom here again as well. And then we have a very last base wire left. I'm going to bring that in, lay again above the rest of them, just like this. And then the final wrap to incorporate that, before we then have to start going downwards again, is a weaving wire is coming down towards the bottom. I need to bring it across the top of all the base wires now, just like this. Again, making sure that the wraps always lie next to each other and they're not crossing over each other there. So just make sure it's nice and flat and then push them nice and close together, just like that. So this is kind of the midpoint of the first little section of the weave. Now we need to go downwards again on the other side to basically mirror it to complete it. And that means we need to do the single wrap, but this was around the third base wire from the bottom, or the second one from the top. So that means I need to come up between the very two middle wires from the back here, so the very middle of them all, push it down, and then I need to go down between the top two base wires, so in between here, because we just want to wrap around that third one from the bottom on its own, just like we did on the other side of the wrap in the middle here. Push it all the way down, just like that. And then again, the weaving wires come in behind all the base wires and down towards the bottom. Make sure they're pushed nice and close together. And then I want to bring it across the top again, but now we want to avoid the very top one, so the fourth one, so I need to go down between the third and the fourth base wire there. And again, push them close and have your weaving wire come down behind the rest of the base wires towards the bottom again. And now we want to do the single wrap again before we do another wrap over multiple base wires. So that means for this one, we're stepping down now, so I need to come up between the bottom two base wires here. So in between there, bring it up, push it all the way down, and again this is to wrap around the second base wire from the bottom on its own. So that means I need to go down between the two middle ones now. Just do that single wrap, push it close, and then again my weaving wire is at the back coming down towards the bottom, and then I need to do the wrap that goes across the bottom two base wires over the top here. So I need to come down between the two middle base wires, and I have that double wrap now, the wrap around over the top of the two base wires on the bottom there. Again, down behind the back all the way towards the bottom, and you just want to push this close. So that's something you have to do, just make sure you push this close and it sits nicely. That's how you get the effect. And then that's basically the little section done. All that's left to do now is wrap around the very bottom base wire, so this one, the very original one that we attached the weaving wire to, by itself. And here it's really up to you how much you want to do, because this will determine how much spacing there is in between each one of these sections. So you can either just do a couple wraps and then do the next one, or you can do quite a few wraps depending how much spacing you want. So just make some wraps here, or coils around this bottom base wire on its own, and then when you're happy with the spacing that's going to be in between, you can obviously count your wraps to make sure you get even spacing between each one. Then you need to start the next one, and that's just doing the exact same thing. I'm just going to show you again. I'm coming down behind towards the bottom. To start off the next one, I need to go over the top of the bottom two base wires, so come down between the two middle ones, push that down, then come up between the two that I just wrapped over the top of, so that I come up to be able to wrap around the second from the bottom here by itself. Do that single wrap behind the base wires all the way to the bottom again, over the top of now the bottom three base wires. That means come down between the top two, push that down, and now come up in the middle of all the base wires, so between the two middle ones, to again do that single wrap just around that third from the bottom. So down between the top two base wires again, and then all the way to the bottom behind all the base wires to do your wrap over the top of all of the base wires there, so all the way up to the top. And that's the middle point again of this section. So now we just want to move downwards again, so that means we need to do the single wrap now on the other side here. So I need to come up between the two middle base wires, because I just want to do the single wrap around the third wire from the bottom. So this one there, go down between the top two to be able to go around that single one, the third one from the bottom, go all the way to the bottom, wrap around and across the top of the bottom three base wires, push that down, and then we need to do step down again. So that means I have to come up between the bottom two base wires there to be able to wrap around the second one from the bottom on its own. Go down between the two middle ones. So you can see I'm stepping down all the way to the bottom, across the top of the bottom two now, so down in between the middle two base wires, push it all nice and close together. And then now we're at the point where we're just going to start wrapping around the bottom base wire on its own again. And again, just now making that spacing in between the sections, which is up to you how much you want to do. So like I said, you can, if you want to make it equal, count the wraps in between. And then you just keep building the weave like this. So I then continued the weave here, and then this is what it's ended up looking like. So you get this nice effect. And also what I want to say, the back and the front to the weave, they are different. If you look closer, you'll be able to tell that the back is slightly different than the front. But obviously you can use either side. As from the distance, it looks the same anyway. But then this is what it looks like. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you very much for watching. Hello everyone. Today I want to show you how to make this diamond wire weave. And this is what it can look like. So I kind of have two different versions here. I've done one where I have the diamonds right next to each other continuously, and then I've done one where I've spaced them out with more wraps in between every single one. So it gives a completely different look, as you can see, and it's the exact same technique. We're just adding in some more wraps between the diamonds there, so you can really use whichever one you want to. You can also space them